In this video, I wanted to go over the intelligence of every puppet combo killer, and we're going to be ranking them from least intelligent to most intelligent. We're going to be talking about which ones are smart as hell and which ones are dumb as bricks. I want to make it clear that this video is only about the intelligence of each villain, not really their ability to kill or anything. So also, very quick guys, I just made a Discord server. Link will be in bio, link will be in my YouTube description as well. Please go join if you like puppet combo stuff, if you like memes and shit. You know, go join the Discord. A lot of fun people in there. We're all talking about puppet combo stuff, and you know, it's just anything blindfire related, you could just join that. All right, anyways, let's get on to the list. So we're going to be starting from least intelligent all the way to most intelligent. So arguably the least intelligent villain on this list is going to have to go to the Driller Killer. Now I think it's very obvious and implied that the Driller Killer did not have any socialization growing up or anything like that. At the end of Night Watch, he actually just speaks gibberish like a baby to you because he doesn't know how to talk. Also, at the end of Night Watch, when he brings you to his little place or whatever, you can see a bunch of kid toys around and like a baby crib and stuff like that. So it's very obviously implied that the Driller Killer is, you know, still like a baby kinda, at least mentally. He has no connection to the outside civilization, as it's pretty obvious, you can tell. And that amount of isolation and solitude definitely took a toll on his mental, and he's, you know, not really that smart. Of course, he can kill pretty good, but that doesn't take intelligence. I think that's pretty obvious. So yeah, first and least intelligent killer on this list is gonna have to go with the Driller Killer. So next we have the Meat Cleaver Mutilator. Now, I couldn't find that much information on the Mutilator, but when you play Meat Cleaver Mutilator, you can tell that he's very wild. He doesn't really have that crazy feats that he does. And also at the end of Meat Cleaver Mutilator, the main character actually kills him. Like, he actually is one of the only villains to ever die from the So yeah, he's actually one of the only villains to ever die from the protagonist, which is pretty crazy. There's only 2 killers that have been killed by the protagonist in puppet combo games, and the other one being Dr. Edward Sullivan at the end of the glass staircase. The fact that he's killed by the main character is, you know, he's not that smart, you know, he just died, he walks into bullets and stuff, he's not that smart. So next we have the Booty Creek Cheek Freak. Now, if you know a little bit about the lore, you know that originally the Booty Creek Freak was actually just a regular person. He was a truck driver and he got stuck in the toilet and he eventually died from starvation, and then he became like a cheek demon. So yeah, I'm not, obviously no hate on any truck drivers out there. I mean, but obviously you don't have to be that smart of a person to be a truck driver. That's not to say the Booty Creek Cheek Freak isn't strong. Obviously they have a bunch of supernatural abilities, which makes them very strong, but in terms of intelligence, the man just hunts cheeks. That's really all there is to it. So yeah, that's pretty funny. So next on the list we have Larry. Larry is a little bit smarter than the other guys because he can like drive a car and stuff, but Larry still doesn't speak or anything, and he displays very childlike tendencies. He's literally described as an overgrown baby or like a man-child. He's heavily disconnected from reality. I'm sure you guys know he has like imaginary friends with the talking tree and a talking dog. That's literally like what kids do. And so yeah, apart from that, he knows how to drive, as we've seen in Maniac, but that's pretty much it. He's just a ruthless killer, and he still kind of is a kid, you know, low-key. I'm sure if you played Christmas Massacre, you can see at the beginning he was very tiny when he first started his rampage. And then like 10-20 years later, he's still the exact same way, still rocking the underwear and stuff like that. He's pretty weird. So next we have Dylan from Deadly Night. Now Dylan, unfortunately, at a very young age, suffered brain damage from that fire that Carol set. So, and that really affected his, you know, growth mentally. One thing I do want to give props to Dylan for is that he's still able to somewhat communicate through the form of his journal that he wrote down in during his time staying with Mr. Miller. So yeah, Dylan is not as dumb as the killers before, because he's actually able to write, he's able to learn. Mr. Miller actually taught Dylan how to hunt, you know, how to prepare food, how to store meat and stuff. So obviously Dylan is not that dumb, but he's still, you know, he still suffered, you know, traumatic brain injury from the fire, and it kind of shows, you know. So yeah, he's still an impressionable child at heart. Next we have the Ding Dong Ditcher Ripper. So the Ding Dong Ditcher Ripper was a prankster prior to becoming well, you know, prior to being sent to the state asylum. So yeah, he was just a kid when by the time he killed like the whole family in his attic or whatever, and he was sent immediately to the state asylum, which means, you know, he wasn't able to finish school or anything. He just was in an asylum for like 10 plus years. He also had a voice in his head telling him to kill and stuff like that. So yeah, he's still a little bit cuckoo and shit, but yeah, for the most part, he isn't that dumb. He still wants revenge and stuff, but yeah, he can write or whatever, but yeah, he doesn't have that much education. So next we have the nun from Nun Massacre. So I know you guys are probably not gonna like this ranking of the nun. Again, I would like to mention this has nothing to do with their ability to kill, only with their intelligence. So the nun actually doesn't have that many feats, to be honest. It's very debatable whether you guys consider her to be Mother Apollonia or simply just, you know, just a figment of Miss McDonald's imagination. With that being said, she's still able to track down our player in, you know, the school, and she's also able to teleport. I know I said this had nothing to do with their abilities, but still, you know, being able to teleport and shit, that's pretty crazy. So next we have the Cannibal killer from Cannibal Abduction, aka Philip. So Philip, for the most part, seems like a normal young adult. He's able to plan with his father and lure victims in and eventually, you know, butchers them or whatever. He would lock himself in the basement every day at 8:45 p.m. So he clearly had some ritual he was doing, you know, especially with the creatures downstairs. And another thing, which I don't think a lot of people give credit for, is that he actually has pretty good autopsy skills. If you go to the most bottom room in Cannibal Abduction, you'll see that there's a body laid out as well as a note. And it's basically showing us that Philip is actually able to, you know, very precisely remove some body parts, remove the bones of the body, give the meat to whoever, you know, the Daisy the dog or even the creatures downstairs. So he knows what he's doing, you know. He's not that dumb, especially compared to the killers before him. So next we have Santa from Planet of the Bloodthirsty Santa. So prior to becoming the Red Demon, Santa actually seemed pretty chill. Like, he used to just like walk around and talk to the elves and observe the village. You don't just regular Santa shit. Obviously, I'm pretty sure all of you guys know about Santa, and you guys know Santa isn't dumb. You know, that man has complete control over the North Pole. He has control over the elves, telling them what to do, traveling around the world and shit, you know, bringing presents to kids all throughout the world. So it's Santa, you know, he's not that dumb, you know, it's Santa. I actually want to read a quote from Planet of the Bloodthirsty Santa, which states, "Santa is constantly appearing in the village in the dead of night. He stays somewhat quiet, just wandering the alleys. I've seen him looking around, peeking through windows, following elves home." So yeah, it's a little bit creepy, that quote, but still, it kind of shows you and gives you insight into the intelligence of Santa, because he just like observes, you know, he's just staring at the elves and shit, watching them go home, clearly planning and plotting something, which is very scary. Next up, we have the Womb Ripper from Bloodwash. So yeah, Samantha Rhodes, aka the Womb Ripper, was pretty regular before becoming the Womb Ripper. She at least finished high school. It's not clear whether it was high school or college, but Pizza Dude in the game tells us that he went to classes with Samantha. Again, I don't know whether those classes meant high school or college, but besides the point, she at least completed high school. She also has some surgical precision when it comes to removing, you know, the fetuses from the body, as we've seen, especially towards the end of the game, where, you know, the stomach is cut open and shit. Yeah, you guys know. So next up we have Nicholas Burr from Babysitter Bloodbath. So prior to becoming insane, in the book it states that he was like a blue collar worker. If you guys don't know what that is, those are basically workers that, you know, do manual labor, stuff like that. So it clearly implies he had some level of skill. Obviously he had to get a job and stuff. So yeah, he was able to maintain a job for some amount of time prior to going insane. Oh yeah, and I'd like to mention Nicholas Burr is able to kill people with his bare hands, which is crazy. He was actually described to be somewhat excited to kill people, and he often overdid it. Like, he often went way overkill, and he gained pleasure from it, which is wild to think about. Nicholas Burr, not only was he, you know, a fucking tank of a man, but so yeah, even down to the way he kills people, he knows how to use weapons. I think he killed someone with their own flashlight, which is what is going on with Nicholas Burr. So next we have Slaw from, oh god damn it. So next we have Slaw from Rewind or Dive. So Slaw was actually able to be a manager of a whole video rental store, as we've seen. Another thing I want to give credit to Slaw is that he low-key is smart with it, you know? He disposes the bodies that he captures through his meat shop. He markets the meat, pause, as Slaw's Mystery Meats, pause again. And it's a pretty smart thing to do. It's almost kind of like laundering, but laundering meat, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty crazy. By the time we play Rewind or Die, he already has 10 bodies under his bag, which is crazy, you know? And he hasn't been caught yet up until that point. And yeah, just in general, he's able to hide his identity. I know when I was reading more about it that that's actually a different psyche of him. So yeah, that's still, you have to be pretty intelligent to kind of hide your identity, you know, as good as he did. And finally, he just runs a whole slaughterhouse. Like, none of these killers, except for the ones later on, run like a facility like that. They're usually just like at a haunted place and just kill people, you know? But Slaw actually runs not only a video store, but also his whole slaughterhouse with all the moving parts and shit like that. So yeah, he's pretty smart. So next up, we have the Easter Ripper from Murder House. So the Easter Ripper is pretty deceitful, and he purposely took a seasonal job being the Easter Ripper at a mall just so he could lure and capture children. He also tricked an entire film crew that he was regular, you know, regular old Tom, you know, until the end of the game where we finally find out it was Tom and shit. So yeah, he's pretty good at lying and making himself look relatively normal. I would like to mention also in the Murder House book, it states that Tom worked for Channel 9. That clearly implies that he had some education in film and some knowledge about, you know, film. He had to go to at least college for that, you know, to become an employee for a news channel. So yeah, he had to have some level of education, at least college education, to land that job. Next up, we have the Night Ripper from The Night Ripper. So the Night Ripper has clear motives and intentions of being a serial killer. I think that's very obvious. He like feeds into his own persona, especially with his outfit and stuff. He knows what he's doing. He wants to be known as a killer, and he's very good at it, and especially good at evading the cops and stuff. He's able to drive a car and track victims all throughout New York City, which is insane. Usually the games prior to this, it's one set location where we have our killer, and it's very easy for them to know where we are and stuff. But in the Night Ripper, as you guys know, Rachel dips all throughout the city, and yet the Night Ripper is still able to track us down no matter where we are, which is very scary and a very, you know, good indication of his intelligence level. And so yeah, he's just very determined. He has a clear mission to rid the city of prostitutes, which is messed up, but still, I guess mentally stable. He has a very clear, you know, motive, which is just, yeah. So next up, we have the Butcher from Stay Out of the House. So besides all the squealing and stuff, the Butcher's actually pretty smart. He has a ton of tasks, like so many things that he does, especially if you guys have seen my Barrier Breach of Stay Out of the House. He does so much shit, like he does so much stuff. So yeah, some of the tasks include butchering meat, taking care of his grandma, capturing victims and locking them up, managing a whole camera system, managing a whole bunker system, taking care of the creature, and like a ton more. I'm sure you guys obviously have played or seen Stay Out of the House. And also on top of that, he has extensive knowledge of weaponry. He's able to set bear traps as well as use a ton of different weapons, you know, chainsaw, cleaver, butcher, whatever. He's able to use a ton of different weapons, which is the only killer on this list that uses that many weapons. And so yeah, the Butcher's actually pretty solid mentally. Again, I don't know why he squeals. He doesn't talk or anything. I don't know whether that's intentional or gameplay purposes, but for the most part, he's pretty smart. I'm pretty sure you guys already know that. So coming near towards the end of the list, we have Terrence from Day 7. So this is the second villain. Well, I don't know if you guys want to call him a villain because of his circumstances and stuff, but he's the second villain on this list to actually kind of like have a job, you know, prior to whatever happened. So yeah, if you guys didn't know, Terrence was actually an accountant and he worked at his, you know, firm or whatever for 22 years. So yeah, if you guys know anything about Day 7, the intro kind of tells you that. He's coming off of work, which is kind of what leads into, you know, him falling into the back rooms. He worked at his job for 22 years. He was an accountant. So clearly the man went to college and got a degree and became an accountant. So yeah, he was clearly able to graduate from college and land a job where he had to pay bills for his family. So yeah, of all killers and all villains, Terrence is legitimately still to this day just the only regular person here. Like, he's still nothing paranormal or supernatural about him. He's just very regular. So finally, we have Dr. Edward Sullivan from The Glass Staircase. So I think all of you guys already know, just because of his name, he was actually a doctor before becoming a monster. which implies he had a ton of education. Obviously, it takes so much time and so much effort to become a doctor. I'm pretty sure you guys already know that. Some of the list of things that you had to do to become a doctor is get a bachelor's degree, pass medical school and clinicals. He also had to get board certified and obtain a state medical license. So yeah, obviously, I'm pretty sure you guys already know by now, he worked at Queen's Mary Hospital, all the way in London. Also, when he was sent to the war, he actually was assigned as a field medic, which I'm sure you guys already know. No regular person just assigned a field medic. You got to have some degree of knowledge when it comes to, you know, the body and the anatomy and stuff like that to become a field medic. So yeah, he's pretty smart. And finally, obviously, he ran a whole laboratory under his manor where he did crazy experiments, you know, crazy doctor experiments and shit. So yeah, Dr. Edward Sullivan is the most smartest killer here by a landslide, easily by a landslide. All right, guys, so that's gonna be it for this video. I know it's a pretty weird video, and I know people are going to, you know, say some villains should be higher or lower than others. Again, I have no problem with that. Please comment where you guys think, you know, a certain villain should be. So yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this fun little video I have here. Hopefully, I don't think I missed out any killers. The other killers are like, can't really gauge their intelligence level, which is pretty weird, but yeah, that's gonna be it for your boy Blind. Many more videos coming soon, more barrier breaches. So yeah, we're almost at 9K. We might be at 9K already by the time this video comes out. I'm actually more than positive we're going to be at 9K already, which is crazy. Thank you guys so much for the support. We've gotten so many subs and shit this past few weeks. It's unbelievable to me. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. You already know I love every single one of you guys. And that's going to be it for me. Peace out.